Welcome back. So, my name is Charlene Randall. Today, we are talking about tired landlords and how you can actually reinvest your funds into a new property and not have to pay the IRS a big lump sum when you sell your investment property by using a 1031 exchange. So, there are a lot of people out there who own investment properties or rental properties, and they are tired of being landlords, okay? They are tired of doing the maintenance. They are tired of dealing with tenants. They are tired of the repairs and everything that comes with being a landlord. So this is what you call a tired landlord. And so a tired landlord wants to find a way to get out of the rat race of tenants and problems that comes with being a landlord. But most people end up selling their property, and when they sell their property, they have to give a chunk of that money to the IRS. By using a 1031 exchange, you can avoid and defer your capital gains by purchasing another property. So, as we said, there are several reasons, why long-term property owners may decide to sell. They may want to unlock equity that is within that property over the years, or they're looking for other events as they are retiring so that they can actually have more time to themselves, or they want to diversify their holdings rather than keeping everything tied up into a property. They want to diversify and basically sell to get those funds. So a lot of these investors try to find ways to do that. And selling the property is one thing, but when you sell the property, you actually, as I said, if you don't do a 1031 exchange, you're going to end up paying the IRS 30%, 25 to 30% of the profits that you have made, causing you to be, less equity than you think that you would have. By you reinvesting that equity, you start off with a greater amount of equity into a new property, or what we call a replacement property. So the relinquished property is the investment property that you have. That is called a relinquished property in a 1031 exchange. And the replacement property is the property that you use that you purchase with the funds from your relinquished property. So the relinquished property you sell, and then the replacement property you purchase with the funds and the equity from your investment. This way you don't pay the IRS any funds when you close on that property, and the funds that you would have paid the IRS, you are now going to put it into a new property. As a tired landlord, there are many ways that or many strategies, let's just say, that you can use to uh do not have to basically deal with these tenants if that's your problem any longer, and to start to create the foundation for retirement or new projects or diversify or whatever it is you choose to do. For one, you can get a triple net lease, right? So a triple net lease property, you could exchange a single tenant net lease property where the tenant pays taxes, insurance, maintenance, reducing your input and management to almost zero. So now you don't have to worry about calls in the middle of the night. You don't have to worry about fixing toilets and different things that are usually what you have to deal with when you have tenants. You don't have to deal with that now. Now you have a triple net lease, where that triple net lease, the tenant or the lease, the person who gets the lease in the triple net lease from you, they are responsible for that. So basically, you're creating passive income with this particular exchange. You are creating passive income. So, being a tired landlord, you don't have to do that. Or instead of holding one concentrated property with the 1031 exchange, you can basically purchase multiple smaller properties as long as it doesn't go over the amount that you can spend based on the property, the relinquished property that you are selling. So as long as it doesn't go over that amount, you can basically purchase smaller properties or a diversified portfolio to reduce the risk. So you don't have to just put all of your eggs into one basket. You can actually create multiple properties um, in your portfolio. Another thing that you can do, there's so many options that if you have a strategist that you can discuss with, you can find the perfect way to use the 1031 exchange for you to build more equity. You can continue exchanging properties, for as long as you want to defer your capital gains and use that equity. So it's all about having the correct strategy for you to use and understanding that you have that option, because a lot of people don't choose that option. What they do is they sell the property without knowing that they can actually defer those capital gains that they would pay to the IRS. So, to defer all taxes, you must replace the old property, which is the relinquished property, with a new one of equal or greater value and reinvest all equity. So, any equity that you don't reinvest, you're going to pay taxes on. You're going to have to pay taxes on any amount that you don't end up reinvesting when you're doing a 1031 exchange. So, if you're doing a 1031 exchange and you want to reinvest some of the funds into a property, you are going to have to pay taxes on the amount that you do not reinvest. So that's how that is. You're going to have to pay taxes on that. So uh, basically, this 1031 exchange will help you to be able to reinvest and create passive income and retire, because knowing that you have to give up 20 to 30, maybe even more, depending on the price of the property, of your equity to taxes, that is just taken away when you can be using that to build passively. You want to be able to create this passive income so you can do less, find ways to manage um, properties that you don't have to deal with tenants if you are a tired landlord. If you are just an investor and you just want to sell your property, then the best thing to do is to use a 1031 exchange. And you can contact me if you want to do a 1031 exchange at randallparalegal.com or call 347-552-9159, and you can discuss your options. But if you are an investor and you just want to sell your property so you can purchase another one, this would definitely the perfect way to do it, because then you can actually reinvest with more. You can have more equity to invest. So if you were going to profit $100,000, if you had let's say you had $1 million property, and you were doing a 1031 exchange, you would probably have to pay about $300,000 in taxes if it's $1 million property. So if you want to reinvest into a new property, it would be better to reinvest with $1 million rather to reinvest with $700,000. So it makes sense right from the beginning to actually take those funds and reinvest into a new property, because you can get a bigger property. You can, have more equity to build from the start. So you want to make sure that, you are thinking of or have a tax strategist that can help you with this. And it's better for you to begin as soon as you're thinking of selling a property, or you may be selling the property in the next few months. You want to contact a tax strategist, because there is a strict timeline when it comes to a 1031 exchange. You have 45 days in order for you to identify your replacement property. And then you have 180 days in order for you to close, to sell the first property and close on the next replacement property. So you want to make sure that you do this within a strict timeline. So you want to do it as soon as possible, so you're not missing out on dates. Because if you don't do that, the IRS is very strict with the guidelines and the dates. So they will definitely not do the 1031 exchange if you miss the 45-day line or the 180 close date. So your seller, the buyer of the property, needs to be ready. The replacement property needs to be ready. All your ducks have to be in a row when it comes to a 1031 exchange, because this is how you are going to be able to save 30% of that massive tax bill when it comes to selling a property. So these are extremely powerful for an investor or someone looking to strategize for retirement, or diversify a portfolio. So these are extremely powerful. So when you use a 1031 exchange, you're using your real estate as a wealth building tool. So you are building wealth in strategizing so that you can keep the most and build the most equity. Okay, so a lot of people, are done with being landlords. There's a lot of things that comes with being a landlord that you have to do, right? So a lot of people don't intend to do that for as many years as they do. So them investors that manage properties and are tired landlords, they see that is not as passive as they may want. They may want to think of something or do something that is truly passive, or you can even, strategize to put the money into a new property that you're not managing anymore, and you have a different type of property. Because you can get a like kind property. Let's just say your replacement property has to be a like kind property, which is any property that's basically going to be used for an investment. So you can change up the type of property. There's a lot of options, and a 1031 exchange is very powerful. So you just have to know and start as early as possible. A lot of people, they get so tired of having properties that they just want to sell, and they just want to get out, and they lose, and they, end up paying this massive tax bill and taking massive amounts of equity that they've built up over the years. So it's just like throwing money away. So that's not what you really want to do. Okay, so you can definitely have options with a 1031 exchange. It's a very powerful wealth building tool. So if you are a tired landlord, or if you know a tired landlord, send them this video. Make sure you subscribe to this channel so that you can get more information. Um, if you are an investor or a business owner, you can click the link below in the description so you can learn how you can get business funding, 100K business funding, and um, everything is in that course for you. so that you can go through everything and basically understand how you can get business funding, everything from the beginning to the end, how you can apply, what you need to apply, and what needs to be in place is all in that um, course that you are going to get below. And you have to use strategies. It's all about having strategies in your business as an investor so that you can continue to use these tools that the IRS has for you as a tool and a stepping stone. So there's no reason that you should be taking a massive tax hit if you don't have to. So my name is Charlene Randall. I will see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel